Support for this episode of PBS Reno Arts is provided by the Nevada Arts Council. Arts and creativity make us stronger, fueling innovation, prosperity, and thriving communities across Nevada. They boost our economy, promote well-being, and enhance education, empowering Nevadans of all ages. The Nevada Arts Council nurtures these essential creative forces. Together, let's elevate the arts in every corner of our great state. More at nvartscouncil.org.
This is PBS Reno Arts. I'm Dave Santina, coming to you from the studio at PBS Reno in Reno, Nevada. And I'm here today with Laura Newman. She's an author you've probably heard of if you live in this area. She's got a new book coming out called The Darling of the Black Rock Desert, coming out March 11th from Delphinium. I'm very excited. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is great. I love that. I feel relevant because you've got a book coming out. It's not just talking about something that's behind you. It's something that's in front of you and then more. So that's great.
And it is a great feeling for me because from the day that they say yes to your book to the day it comes out is about a year and a half.
Wow, really?
Really. So it's exciting for me.
That's incredible. So you've been having to wait for just for this moment for a year and a half.
Well, you do a lot of final edits in that time and the design of the book and all of that. So there are things to do. But yes, it's a long time between the contract and the printed piece.
Well, I admire your patience. I don't know if I would be.
I have no choice. I want to be published, so
I'll
wait it out.
Shivering a lot if I had to wait that long. Well, we talked as we were walking in today. We've met a couple of times, but just in passing, we have mutual friends, and so I'm very well aware of you in this area because your name comes up all the time. You are well loved as a writer. You are an award winner. You were the 2024 University of Nevada Libraries Writers Hall of Fame Silver Pen Award winner. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm very proud of that.
That's a huge deal to be given that award. Your work was, the RGJ included your work on their bucket list of the top books by Nevada authors about Nevada. That's a pretty high praise, I think.
Right there with Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can say your name and Mark Twain in the same sentence?
Yes, I can. I just did.
You just did. So did I. Oh, I didn't. I just said his name. Sorry. It's nothing nothing against you. My poor effort on my part. And also, and I've read this many times, your work on the Reno News and Review's annual short fiction contest. You've won that many, many times. So you are a sort of a local treasure when it comes to writing.
Oh, I love that word. Thank you.
Well, I think you deserve it. So I'm looking forward now to this new book, which is The Darling of the Black Rock Desert. What can you tell me about this one?
Well, The Darling of the Black Rock Desert obviously takes place here. It's 3 novellas, so they are only really drawn together by the setting. And the setting is that these are stories that are set in the West.
Okay.
The stories themselves are not connected. So 3 long stories.
All right. So 3 completely independent of each other. And you're inspired by, was it the desert itself that inspired you to tell these stories? Where do you get the impetus to create fictional stories?
Well, the ideas are the hardest part for me. That is definitely the hardest part. My first book, the Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies short stories, they take place all over the world because I do travel, as you know. And so that is just a wonderful little dive around the world. And I enjoyed that for source material, looking to where I had been. But this time around, I said, when we travel, our eyes are wide open, we're looking for experiences, and sometimes when we're home, we forget that this is maybe the best place.
Yeah.
And that why isn't here good enough to
Right.
inspire you? So I purposely said, okay, what can I do with characters in my own backyard? And location is extremely important to me. A location is always a character in my stories.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've read a few excerpts online and love the way you characterize a landscape and make it come to life almost like it's a human being. How do you do that?
I think that it's because I'm a seeker of beauty in really everything that I do. And maybe that's a little bit shallow because I really want to find those moments. And so I find a lot of it in nature. nature is a real solace for me, an answer to a lot of problems. And so first, in almost all of my stories, first it's the location. And then I say, well, what can I do with these people in this location? How will this location influence them?
Okay. And so when you are putting together a descriptive passage, I was taken by one that I read. You were talking about the desert south of Las Vegas. It was
The Mojave.
The Mojave. Thank you. And you talked about tissue paper flowers and candy. I think like candy colors. And the way you write is really evocative, and it makes it actually enjoyable to read a passage that is describing a place, just the physical landscape, which I thought was wonderful. And maybe it's because I was concentrating on it, but maybe it's just because you're a really good writer. So how do you seek that when you're writing, or does that just come out of you? I'm always curious about this process, where you choose to focus and how you feel that sort of that description of a place.
The focus to me is not on the full story. The focus to me is on a single sentence or paragraph. And so what I want, because I'm a seeker of beauty,
right,
I want to write a pretty sentence. It doesn't have to be something pretty happening. I mean, it can be something horrible, but I still want it to be written in a way that is, interesting or a little bit different. It doesn't happen in every sentence. You have to move the story forward. But certainly when I'm describing nature, I have more of an opportunity to do that. So you're looking at my books, you can see they are not 800-page books, they're 250-page books. But it will, I am not exaggerating when I say that it could sometimes take me 3 hours to write a paragraph.
I
because
see that.
I am concerned about language. I love language. It won't always come out in verbally, that you may not see that,
right,
but when I have time to think about words and how they sound with each other, how that sentence rolls off your tongue or through your mind, then that's what I am focusing on. And then I hope to God I can move the story forward, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it is intimidating sometimes for people to speak to writers because they expect that you are judging the vocabulary and the sentence structure.
Exactly. And usually I fail. Like I've had, I think my editor might have been disappointed in person. I'm not sure. Because you do kind of expect that. But again, you have hours and hours and months and years to refine that. And like right now, I just got to, hope it comes out okay.
Right. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And it's, I've gone back and, I have to listen to these podcasts after the fact, and I very often think, what were you thinking?
Yes, exactly.
That's not even coherent. Why did you say that? But
right.
we all have those moments, even those who are brilliant writers. So you've got a copy with you of the the Darling of the Black Rock Desert. I'm wondering if there's anything that you would be willing to read to give us a taste of it.
Sure. I'll read you. You talked about the little descriptions. Each of these 3 stories starts with a small description of the location in which it takes place. The first one is just like a paragraph long, so I'll read that one.
Oh, beautiful. And
then I'll read a little piece from that.
I love it. It's like getting a private reading that I will later share with people.
I like thinking of it that way. The Great Basin in Nevada, together with the Sonoran, Chihuahuan, and Mojave, form the vast North American desert. The Great Basin is the coldest of the 4 because it lacks the parka of humidity. It is a place where beauty comes in small pieces, in chips of topaz, white turquoise, and petrified wood, in snowflakes and canyon groves of quaking aspen, shifting mountains of singing sand, washes of borax, and twisty bristlecone pines 4,000 years old, animals that will only be wild. Its wealth is in gold and silver and history. In next-door California, beauty is a headliner. But a quiet mind can find beauty in the high desert. So that's the introduction to the first story. And the first story is the title story, The Darling of the Black Rock Desert. This takes place in the 60s, and it is about a young Black woman attending UNR, certainly at a time where there were not very many Black people here, and a young Native American. Julia is the woman's name, and Howie is the man's name. And they come together accidentally and do fall in love. Julia didn't want to fall in love. She wanted a white-collar guy, and Howie works out at the Empire Mines.
Okay.
But they have a daughter, a spectacular daughter, Nia, who has a spectacular physical disability. Nia is actually the darling of the Black Rock Desert. But I'm just going to read you one page from the beginning of the love story, because this part is set here in Reno, and I thought that would be fun.
Oh, I love it.
So just a couple paragraphs. They went to Landrum's Hamburger System number 1, 8 swiveling stools at a sparkling counter, the tiny prefab building unloaded in 1948 from the Virginia and Truckee Railroad tracks right behind the property. Sue owned the place, and if you didn't want to sit next to a Negro or an Indian or a Negro with an Indian, well, get out. Plenty more behind you. She never said it out loud, but Howie and Julia could tell just by the way she placed their plates in front of them. Burger in the middle, fries Lincoln logged, pickle off to the side at a jaunty angle. The disenfranchised know what it means when their food is served sloppy. If the lettuce is sliding out of the side of the burger, don't think it just means lettuce. They drove out to Windy Hill and watched the city twinkle and wink. There was ranch land at the bottom of the hill, the smell of hay and cattle and earth. It was a time of year for collecting. Julia tucked herself into Howie and they kissed. Howie had waited all day for this kiss. He could see the future so much more clearly with closed eyes. Later, Howie parked on a dark side street, spent the night in his car. Twice he heard ambulances banking into emergency at the not-so-distant St. Mary's Hospital. It was a lamenting sound, kin to foghorns and winter geese. It left that kind of feeling. But that's an easy feeling to fend off for a young man. So many days ahead, he cannot count them, but he can count on them. In the morning, he walked swiftly into the Calneva for 99-cent ham and eggs and scalding coffee the color of nothing. Then he drove to the YMCA for a shower and over to pick up Julia. Let's take your car today and drive out to my place. I'll drive you back tomorrow. He didn't even say good morning. Julia was not a frivolous girl. She knew what he was asking. She felt a nervousness electrify her body, something like that moment of letting go of the rope swing over the river, plunging down. Howie, I'm not going to marry you. He knew she had other plans involving big cities. That's not what I'm asking for. He smiled, and damn if that fine girl did not go back into her rented room, fill a small bag with clothes, and come back out to him. So this is a love story that will not go easily.
That's beautiful. I'm listening and thinking anyone who's familiar with this area is going to want to read the rest of that story, because you drop so many hints about these locations that are familiar to people who've been around for a while, and it makes you want to know more. So yeah, you're immediately drawn in by these characters, and I'm wondering, you resemble none of those people that you just described. So where do you find your characters, and how do they come to you?
Well, I got some safety in writing in my last book, The Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies, because I wrote all different cultures. And I actually had people from those cultures compliment me on my, I'm going to use the word insight, and my editor as well. And so that gave me some confidence. I even did have a Black woman compliment me. And whenever I'm writing about a different culture and then I have to read it out loud and they're in the audience, I am dying. I am dying.
Yeah, I bet.
But we are in a culture right now where it's risky for me to do this, right?
Sure.
It's a little bit risky. Because if you look at my website, you will see that I am neither of those characters.
Right.
But also, I am a human. And nobody asked the murder mystery writer if they murdered anyone.
Right.
So I feel like I have the actual right to write about anything. I'm not a man, so I don't get to write about men.
Right.
It gets, I think, a little carried away.
I think so too. I agree with that. And so I think that it's you're writing with essentially pure intent. You're creating characters and telling stories. You're having fun telling stories, which any of us has done in our lives at some time, and it's intended with the best.
You just try not
thoughts.
to use caricatures,
Right.
or that's the main thing. So I read it more carefully, and my editor as well, to make sure that hopefully I'm not insulting.
A good writer writes well. I almost
Yeah.
said writes good to be funny, but
I would
do
have
it.
laughed.
I couldn't do it.
Good.
But so in this case, where did these characters come to you? How do you find these stories? Do they just come to you? Do you work at them? How do you decide who they're going to be, what their background's going to be? This is the part that I find fascinating, because you have such a diverse array of stories already in just a
Yeah.
few books that it seems incredible to probably to a lot of people, but to me specifically. And so I'm fascinated by this.
Everybody has to be, all my characters have to be a little bit quirky. Nobody's going to be completely normal. They're going to, shoot themselves in the foot with their own actions, or things are going to happen to them. So I'm not really looking for normal. So what's unusual in Reno, Nevada in the 1960s? So I have this family, Julia's mom and dad. They moved to Genoa because the dad knows that there's safety in lack of numbers. Nobody is going to get too upset about, like one family, and he thought it would be a great place to raise his daughter. And so I'm looking for what's different. How can my characters be a little bit different?
Are you ever inspired by people in your life, experiences
Oh my
in your
goodness.
life?
Be careful what you say,
Yeah.
because I will steal anything. I will steal anything, and I will twist it until you could barely know it was yours.
Who has come up to you, or how many people have come up to you and said, you stole that from me? That's me on that book, right?
I always tell them after. If there's
really?
if there's a line that I've used or something, and if I'm really concerned, I will actually ask permission up front.
Well,
But
that's kind of
normally
you.
people are flattered,
Right. I mean,
I'm-
I can't imagine somebody saying, no, don't.
I'm not writing
Don't immortalize
secrets.
me.
Yeah, I'm not writing secrets,
Right.
So, yeah. But yes, of course, you overhear things. I'll overhear things from strangers, and like, oh, I could do something with that.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember an example of that happening?
Yes. I overheard a woman at the gym say, I'm going to wear black until they come up with a darker color. And I've got a person in this book who's grieving, and I have her say that.
That's great.
And my grandson said, sometimes the heartbeats are sad. And I thought that was a beautiful way to describe being sad.
Yeah,
And so Nia, when she's a little girl, she uses that line.
that is beautiful. I
So-
love that. So, all right. So you're pulled from everywhere. You mentioned earlier, I wrote a note to myself that you are a voracious traveler. I said,
Yes.
what do you draw from your own experiences traveling, and how much of this is just generated completely out of your imagination?
Well, locations will come from the travel, right? And the way that I feel when I'm there. And again, if something is just so beautiful, I have to put characters there, or so unique. Or I was just in Mexico, and we had to park around up a big dirt mountain with this most beautiful graveyard with like all the pictures and the flowers, and then down at the bottom, and then go into this muddy parking lot that had a number of chickens and chihuahuas. Come on. I got to write about those chickens and chihuahuas.
Of course.
So, I'll just hold on to that. When I'm traveling, I'm not writing. I'm not even taking notes. My camera, which is now just my phone,
Right.
that's my notes.
Okay.
And then the picture will let me know where I was and how I felt, and then I'll pull from that. Characters, a lot of times they seem to excavate themselves. And I kind of don't like when artists say that, but there's a truth to it. You start with one little idea. I want to put them here, and then they start telling you what they want to do.
Interesting.
And they become like really friends.
Right.
So you kill them.
Until hopefully not all of them.
Not all of them, no.
That would be a spoiler alert if every single story ended the same
not.
way. And then the meteor hit. The end.
It may not surprise you that I prefer a happy ending.
I do too. I don't know how many people are looking for sadness on purpose, but I know that some people they do get some level of satisfaction out of something that they'll feel is more realistic or dark, but I think there's room for all of it.
Yeah, I like to put them through the dark and then come back out the other side.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On behalf of your audience, I thank you, your readership. So there's so much that I'm curious about. I know that you've now been writing for quite a while. I've known you as a writer, but I also know that you had a long professional life before this became your primary. How did you transition from your we'll say Joe job to becoming a full-time writer?
Well, I knew I wanted to be a writer since I was 8 years old, and I did write. And I did manage during my professional career to get one slender book of short stories published called Parallel to Paradise by a local publishing house, and it was great, and I was so excited. But they don't have distribution. So our joke became that I spent more on my dress that I bought for my book signings than in selling the book. And sadly, that is true. So after my kids were, safely in college and that was all taken care of, I said, okay, I'm going to do this thing that has been in my heart forever. I'm going to go ahead and quit really years before I probably should. And I'm going to write a new book, all new stuff, and then I'm going to get an agent. Because if you don't have an agent, you can't really talk to the better publishers. They don't have time to talk to read every manuscript that comes in the door.
That makes sense.
So they work with agents because the agents say this is good. They call it for them. So I wrote the book. That took about 3 years, and then I started writing agents. I wrote 75 of them. 3 of them wrote back and asked for the full manuscript, and 1 of them sent a contract. So I'm not like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but one is one.
You only need one.
You only need one. She was in New York City.
That's not a bad spot.
She got a publisher in 4 months.
That seems incredible.
And it's because that's what they do.
That's true.
They have contacts. They call him up. Hey, Joe, I got something for you.
Yeah.
And I can't call Joe. Now I can.
Now you can.
But so the trick, I feel, is to get an agent because they can take care of it. So that when my books come out, they're going to be in libraries across the United States, which I adore. I go into libraries to see if they have my book. And it's going to be, in the Barnes & Nobles type hard stores and the local independent stores, and it's going to be available everywhere online. So the distribution is and hopefully the PR, we're doing PR right now. Hoping that goes well.
Right. Well, this qualifies, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. It does.
I would love it if you are out at a signing somewhere after March 11th. And somebody said, I heard about this book on this podcast, so I came to see you. That would make me so happy.
Wouldn't that be
if
great?
Even one person. So you're hearing me, folks? If you're listening,
okay.
I'm demanding that one of you go to whatever the book signing is here in Reno when this is happening. I'm sure there will be
I have 3.
plenty.
I have 3.
Oh, already Well,
yeah.
Please tell me, when are they?
Well, this is going to sound really terrible, but
it's okay.
because I do have the dates in my head. March 14th at Radical Cat.
Okay.
May 3rd at Barnes & Noble, and April 25th at Word After Word at Truckee, which is Independent Bookstore Day.
Oh, nice.
So...
Is that the bookstore that's on the main strip there?
Beautiful.
With the 2 stories that has the basement with the records in it? I love that store.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. I might want to come to that one. Just
stores. I'll have those posted up on my website, so that'll be an easy way to reference them.
That's
and then
fantastic.
You come down and say that you heard me here. That'll be great.
I demand someone show up. Maybe I'll do it.
Well, you're going to have a book at the end of the day, so it will.
Fair enough.
But you can still come.
Thank you. Now, this is where I get myself into trouble because I want to talk to you forever. I want to hit one other thing that, and maybe get just a sample from you, because every year the News and Review puts out their short story contest, the short fiction contest. You've won it how many times?
I don't know, a number of times, or second or third or
You're in there. You're in the top 3 every time, it seems. And you've been called the Tom Brady of the short fiction contest because you've won it so many times. So can you share an example of this? Because this is a contest. Well, first of all, tell us what the contest is, and then if you would, give us a sample.
So you had to write. It has to be whatever amount of words they say. Sometimes it's 100, sometimes it's 95. So it depends upon what they say. And I really credit the News and Review for really helping me when I was, tender in my emotions of being a writer.
Sure.
And because I did do pretty well with this, and it is blind, they would call me up and say, we can't believe it, but okay, and a blind read. And so that gave me a lot of confidence. And also, when my last book came out, they actually printed one of the full stories, which I thought was, actually, they did it before I got the contract. That was really sweet. So I really love them. So the one that I thought I'd bring today is because it caused controversy. And again, I'm not a controversial writer. That's not really who I am. So this didn't come in first. It came in second.
Okay.
And it's called Catholic Girl. I like the taste of communion. It does not taste like the body of Christ, which I imagine to be salted by his sweat and the spray of Galilee. It tastes like his clothes, a little circle of linen. I don't think it's baked. I think nuns in white wimples weave it on a loom while singing, Dominica, Nica, Nique. I like to hold it in the top of my mouth for as long as possible and feel it melt like the rice paper around Chinese candy. So what I love about this story is that's just me remembering my first communion.
Right.
The Catholic League decided that it was blasphemous, wrote in their magazine to boycott the News and Review and their advertisers.
Really?
Really, off
because
of 95
that?
words. Well, that was powerful for me. Look what I did with 95 words.
Look what you did, yeah.
So the News and Review, which I'm sure loves being, causing controversy.
Sure.
They did a complete cover story on it called Burn in Hell.
Oh, I remember that cover.
Do you remember that cover?
I remember that cover.
And then they came and they took a picture of me, and I swear to God, they used that fishbowl eye.
Oh.
And I had like this big Carl Malden nose. and I was, I don't know what that was about.
Come on, News and Review.
But anyway.
Maybe they were protecting you. By
maybe they
distorting your features so that no one could know that it was see you in the street and say, there she is, the blasphemer.
But I think we all know when you create any kind of anything, once you put it out there, it is, it's up to the person who receives it.
Right.
What's it mean? You can say, what is this book about? It's like, well, the reader decides what the book's about.
That's
so
true.
That's how they took it.
Yeah.
So
well, that's funny. I have not the same memory, but I do remember a first communion.
Do you?
I do. I was 7. And I remember that I thought the wafer was pretty good. That was a little crunchy little cracker.
Yeah.
I'm all good with that. I did not know what wine was. They used real wine.
Oh, ours was grape juice.
I took a sip, and if you want to put somebody off of drinking for as long as it takes until they are brave enough to try it again, you give a kid wine when he's 7.
Yeah.
Because I was running away from that. That was the nastiest thing I ever tasted. And, today maybe I'm okay with it. But at the time, boy, was that a strong memory for me.
Like forcing you to smoke a cigarette at 7 years old.
Yeah, well, I didn't drink wine, didn't smoke a cigarette, that's for sure. But a strong memory, so I can relate to that one.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love it. So what's coming up next? So you've got this book coming out in March, obviously March 11th it's released. You've got some signings, and then are you working on more?
I am. I'm halfway through a book that is a little bit different for me, and I don't know how it's going to go, but it's called A Tough Row of Buttons to Shine, which is soldier speak for hard work. So my dad, who is still alive and is 100 years old,
Wow.
He was in World War II. And, I wasn't alive, but when your parents were, then it kind of, and we're getting to where these stories are going to be gone. And they might tell an important tale for what is with our world now. And I don't, there's lost voices. And I am writing these stories. Again, I have one from the point of view of a German woman, from a point of view of a Russian family, from a point of view of an English woman, and two from an American point of view. They're not really about soldiers, although that is in there. And it is a kind of quiet anti-war book. I have applied for a Guggenheim Foundation, and I know I've made the finals, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get it because a lot of people apply.
Fair enough.
But
But
that would be
exciting.
cool.
Yeah, that's
That would
exciting
be
to think
cool.
about.
So I don't know how sellable that is, but I can't write for sellable. I write what comes out.
Right. Well, it
So-
seems to be pretty sellable since you've got
We're coming along.
a couple
Yeah.
books out and this new one coming. And you are not a person. I would suspect that you don't think of yourself as a funny person in face to face, but
No.
you are lauded for your humor. So how do you write? Let me ask you this: do you attempt to intentionally write humor, or is it just your personality coming through?
I do. I think it's, I don't do it on purpose, but sometimes I write things and it makes me laugh. I mean, I make myself laugh. I love when I can write humor. I love when people laugh, and I love that I'm described that way. So I hope to keep that even in a war book.
Absolutely. Well,
So-
and you need your levity
Yeah,
in,
you
in a
do.
war book for sure.
You do.
Well, I look forward to that. When do you anticipate having something out for people to read?
For the new stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it takes me another year to a year and a half to write it, and then if I get a contract, let's assume I do.
Let's assume
Why
you do.
not? It will take between a year and a half for it to be in this condition today.
In the hardback form that you bring
Hardback
today.
form, so it'll be 3 years.
Okay.
Kind of minimum 3 years. And it's nice, like Delphinium, they put this out in hardcover, and then 1 year from March 11th, they put it out in paperback. So
nice.
so it has 2 releases.
Beautiful.
And then, of course, it's always in Kindle for less money.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, just out of curiosity, does it matter to you which form people get? Does as the writer, do you get different residuals depending on
Yeah,
how
I
it sells
do.
and from where?
I do, and like if schools buy it, if it's bought in bulk, there's all kinds of different ways. But I actually make more money off of a Kindle sale because they don't have to print it, they don't have to ship it. So I get a bigger percentage of that because there's less overhead with it. So
Okay.
that's great, but I love a physical book.
I do too. Plus, you can't sign a Kindle.
Can't sign a Kindle.
Somebody walks
and-
up to you in Barnes & Noble and says, would you sign my Kindle?
I
And you
know.
could do it once.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that Kindle's
exactly.
going to have to go in a frame because now it's over with.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe not.
So, I mean, it depends, but, it's good. I think that there's different price points for people to buy books. And of course, I want to sell books, but I'm really proud when my books are in the library systems. I'm going to tell you my favorite library story. We were actually in Ketchikan. And so we went into the library. Do you have the Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies? And she looks it up and she says, no, but they have it in Fairbanks. We can get it for you. And I took that for the win. So, and I actually have now been to Fairbanks, not specifically for that, but and have seen my book there. So
bet.
I love libraries.
Beautiful. Oh, me too. Me too. You're inspiring me. I need to get out and check some books out. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate your time and your readings. I'm excited to read the rest of this book myself now.
Thank you. And I'm going to leave you this book today.
Oh, bonus. All right. I feel now speaking of for the win, I think I just won. Well, thank you so much
Thank you so
for coming
much.
in. All right. Before we go, I want to remind everybody who's listening, watch Artifacts on PBS Reno. That's via broadcast or streaming on pbsreno.org or the PBS Reno YouTube channel or the PBS app. There are many ways to watch Artifacts. Also, read art views at pbsreno.org. Many tremendous columnists there. Covers all different aspects of the arts community in this area. Now, do you have a question or maybe a comment or a suggestion? I would love you to send them to me, email them to me, podcasts@pbsreno.org. My thanks to Laura Newman, and thank you for listening to PBS Reno Arts.
Support for this episode of PBS Reno Arts is provided by the Nevada Arts Council. Arts and creativity make us stronger, fueling innovation, prosperity, and thriving communities across Nevada. They boost our economy, promote well-being, and enhance education, empowering Nevadans of all ages. The Nevada Arts Council nurtures these essential creative forces. Together, let's elevate the arts in every corner of our great state. More at nvartscouncil.org.